get rolling. All right, who's got something good? Let's get going. Got a fun day? I was gonna walk around with this. Thanks, Chad.
I got you.
I know you did. Here, okay. I get it. All right, let's just call it out on camera, bro. Why not? All right, what is something? Who's got something good?
I got one.
Let's go.
My listing in League City will be going live this weekend.
Okay, awesome. Good job. What's it at?
820.
820. Awesome. Where'd you get them from?
Fizbo.
And how long were you working with them?
2 years.
2 years to convert. All right, but you got it. Good job. Great job, Cass.
Anybody else?
Right here. Oh.
Hi, everybody. My name is
Louder,
Mahado
louder,
Omar.
louder.
Hello, everybody. My name is Mahado Omar, and I'm a new agent. I just had my first closing, and the check was delicious.
Yeah. Well, Mahado, what was the final sales price on that? 1.3? 1.3 million. Would love that to be my
Very delicious.
Good job. Next is 2 million.
Right? Setting that bar.
All right.
Right to the luxury market.
I know, right? All right. Anybody else? Nobody online? Going once? All right. We're only going once. All right, let's get rolling. Norman, all you, buddy, your baby.
So our annual Give from the Heart blood drive is coming up next Thursday from 9 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. Here's the scan. There's 21 open slots still. Okay, so there's 28 of them. So there's only like 7 of y'all that have signed up.
Is it here in the market center or on the bus?
It'll be on a donor coach. It's a bus. We'll
Where's
be
that?
out in the parking lot. I'll have some signs out there for them to be able to park out there normally, you know, in their spot, save them a space. It's real easy. Go in, take a few minutes, give a donation, because if you give a donation, they can break that up and you can save 3 lives from 1 donation. Okay. So that's
Get
awesome.
anything for donating?
Oh, yeah, I forgot. This time, I like to schedule it around the time that you get stuff. So this time they're giving a beach towel, okay? In the winter time, I'll schedule it around getting a hoodie, okay?
Awesome. Now, is there any other place besides this QR code they can sign up?
No, that's
If
it.
not, we can make it happen.
Yeah, make
All right.
that happen right there.
All right, okay, and Facebook group, we'll put it on there.
I have
Okay?
it on the Facebook group. already.
Okay, there we go. All right, or the Facebook group. Good deal. Thanks, Norman. All right. I hope everybody knows by now that tomorrow's a major day for our company, right? What day's tomorrow? Red Day. It is Red Day. All right. So I hope you guys have signed up, you know, and we're ready to give back. And so there's some more info here on it. So we got a couple of videos from the committee, and then we'll have Tasha close it out. All right. And of course, we have some great sponsors that are going to be filling our day up. Oh, can we get the side to the side? Oh. All right, here we are. All right, well, that's gonna make this reset now, so.
Yeah,
All right.
give it a
let's-
minute.
Oh, while we're waiting, Tasha.
Yeah,
Yes, please. Yeah, why don't you come say
So
something?
while that's waiting, I have 2 quick Red Day giveaways.
Oh, yeah, let's do that.
If anyone can tell me the address where Red Day is happening tomorrow, I have something for you. Raise your hand, first person. What? I don't know who to give it to.
There we go. Stephanie had her hand up.
Okay.
What's the
What's
answer?
the address?
505 Julie Rivers.
That's you. And the next prize is.
Wait, what is she winning? Okay, all right, next one.
The next one is if you can tell me the
KWTC.
times for the 2 shifts for Red Day tomorrow. She
Whoa.
back here.
Alicia.
Over
No,
here.
Alicia had her hand up.
What's the time?
8 to 11. And you win a Tasha Hippolyte magnet.
So free to give it to one of your clients.
Yeah. All right, ready for the videos first? All right, here we go.
So Pam, you've been with Keller Williams 20 plus years. What makes this Red Day so special?
Well, I think what makes this Red Day so special is having come off the pandemic and not really being able to get out and interact with the public and volunteer with the community like we had in the past. This year is extra special because we're working especially close with Jan here at Habitat for Humanity, and we'll be able to give back better than we ever have.
Oh, that's beautiful. That is beautiful. That does make it special. And how many agents are we expecting?
100 at least. If you haven't signed up, get to it.
Get to it.
Get on it.
Get on it.
All right, with newer agents.
I am so excited. Right now I'm here at Habitat for Humanity with Keller Williams. This is our first Red Day to volunteer, and it's such an amazing cause. Through strength, stability, and self-reliance, they're building shelter at no profit. Habitat for Humanity. May 12th, it's gonna be so exciting. We're all gonna be there. We're all gonna volunteer. It'll be 100 of us, and for such a worthy cause. We give back where you live. Red Day, Keller Williams. Thank you.
Okay, so Red Day is tomorrow. I'm going to give you a picture of how today is going to look tomorrow. I just got off the phone with Jan. So you'll arrive at 7:30, the morning crew, 7:30. Breakfast will be provided by Majestic Title. You'll eat from 7:30 to 8. At 8 o'clock, we'll have a safety meeting with Jan's construction manager and Jan herself. Will be broken out into 4 teams. You'll have colored wristbands. So there'll be a check-in table. So you go to check-in table first. Make sure your name's checked off for the liability form. They'll break us off in teams and give us instructions. So we're going to be doing 2 things tomorrow. We're going to be building playhouses for kids where they've already built homes for, and we're going to be working with the restore manager. So there'll be a little bit of organizing, assembling, all that good stuff. And the same thing for the second shift. Any questions?
We want to have everyone raise their hand if you need a wake-up call, because that's early for a lot of you people.
Yes. If you signed up.
What, wake-up call? Is that what
You're on the committee, no. So if you sign up, show up, okay? If you sign up for the morning shift, show up for the morning shift. Be ready to work, wear closed-toe shoes. It's gonna be hot. Bring some sunscreen.
And the day ends at 3 o'clock?
3 o'clock, and then happy hours after that.
Well, that's what I was.
3 to 5.
When are we getting the secret message?
When you get there tomorrow.
Happy hours only for participants.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
If you're not planning on being a Red Day, don't show up.
That's right.
We'll take that sign-in sheet to happy hour.
Yeah, you gotta sign in at happy
Dale is gonna be
hour.
checking off the people for happy hours, so.
For the second shift, you said the first shift had to show up for 7:30. So does the
The second
second
shift is
shift?
from 11 to 2. So the second shift, you get to eat lunch and then work.
So we don't have to come earlier.
No,
Okay.
no, come at your assigned times because we're really at capacity for volunteers right now. But yeah, show up at your designated time. I know some people sign up for both shifts. That's good because I did count you twice. So that's good. Any other questions? All right. All right, your last
All
time
right.
here.
Looking forward to seeing y'all tomorrow in your red shirts. Right? Good deal. All right, let's keep going.
Regarding that red shirt, does the office have a Zelle? Can I Zelle the office my red shirt money?
So,
That's Barbara. You can Zelle me and back. Thank you.
Barbara said Zell her.
Everybody have a
There we
shirt on. We're gonna take we're only doing 2 pictures. One for a picture at the morning shift. One
was
for
she
a picture
first, really?
Afternoon shift.
I thought Nikki was first. All right, our superstar MCA.
Awesome. So I wanted to ask a question. How many of you would think it'd be awesome to come to a mastermind of top agents that meet together in our market center? They talk about what's happening in the market, what their business is struggling with, and how they're overcoming those struggles together. How many of you know we had that meeting yesterday? It's called our ALC meeting. We have it once a month and it is open for all of you to attend. It's really awesome. So we have a group of top agents. Tasha is on it. Israel's on it this year. Sapna, Cynthia. And they talk about the market. What are the numbers they see? What are they struggling with in their businesses? How they can help one another. And every single person who attends can learn. Renee was there, right? Did you learn something yesterday?
Kind of like herding cats, too, by the way.
She nodded her head.
Well, it's fascinating to me, and I was talking with somebody today about all the information. I don't see all of these things in the field. I'm not selling real estate, but I learned so much listening to these people talk with one another, helping each other, and what are the strategies that they use to overcome the struggles that they're seeing right now. And you can benefit from that too. Just come. It's the second Tuesday every month, 1 o'clock here in the training center. Awesome. That's all I got.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate it. All right. All right. Let's get the show on the road. Oh, come on. Come on. Good?
Okay, so mine will be very brief. It's just to put it on your radar. We are having pretty much a diversity and inclusion day and week coming up in June 1st. It's where we are looking at our blind spots within real estate, right? We have a lot of opportunity out there for people who have been historically underserved and not recognized. For example, something as simple as putting closed captions on your video can now reach an audience that you probably have not been reaching, which is the hearing impaired. So come on, if you're passionate about that, I do still need some people to assist with that event that's happening. Basically, we're bringing in people from all of the major associations, the Houston Black Real Estate Association, Asian American, we're looking for the Disability Association, Hispanic Association, the Diversity and Inclusion Association, and HAR. They're all coming out here to help explain what they're doing to assist with diversity and inclusion and help grow your business. So if you're interested in that, see me, but I just wanted to put it on your radar. June 1st, we're having it right here from 12 to 3. It'll be a walking lunch. Then we're going to look at the color of real estate, which is a video and a training to help you grow your business.
Thank you. Awesome. That's true. Yeah, don't miss that. That's actually a KW nationwide program. So definitely want to partake in that. All right. Well, let's get rolling on today. So today's topic, I had titled, win the offer, close the deal, right? Now, for some of you, especially for some of you that have been in this industry for 2 years or less, this is the only market you've seen. And we've been in it what feels like forever, right? And it's been pretty competitive, especially from the buy standpoint. Now, even though, we've seen multiple offer situations and all kinds of crazy strategies, I feel like and we've talked about the economy ad nauseum as well, right? That, hey, there's a shift coming, right? We don't know if it's already going in that direction. Yet lots of multiple offer situations, et cetera. Yet now we're starting to see a little bit of a change in the way offers are presented and the offers that are being accepted. And that's why I wanted to revisit this topic to kind of go over that for some of you that are kind of wanting to know more insight or struggling in that, right? So I've called up what I feel like are two of the best in our business, that specializes in making offers and buyers. All right. So let's get these guys, these rock stars up here, Israel and PJ. And so we can start focusing on this. And I know, right? I should have had a walk up. So let's have you guys come aboard here. And there they are. Appreciate you guys being in here. Yeah, two pictures and a rose for both of them. You'll have to share it. Yeah. So now as we're getting into this, first of all, PJ, thank you for joining us. Israel, thank you for being here, ALC member. I like to joke about PJ because I feel like, he's so great at what he does. And, but Audra does such a great job. For those of you who don't know, he's Audra's lead buyer's agent. And, to keep him in check, and keep him from getting a big head, she has him share his office. She has him share his office with the Costco closet. So, it keeps him a little grounded. So I love coming in there to sneak in like I'm getting some water or something from her and PJ's sitting there working. But thank you guys for joining us. All right. So we will take maybe a couple of questions near the end if you have that they haven't addressed something. So if you have something high level that you want to ask that hasn't been addressed, just kind of keep that in mind. Okay. All right, so let's get going. First of all, introduce yourselves a little bit. I know I gave a little bit of an intro, but
my name is PJ. I'm on Audra's team. She's back there in the corner. I was going to talk really bad about her, but she's in here, so I can't say anything. So I've been in real estate for 4 years. At first, I started out as her ISA, so I guess I've been a full-time agent for about 3 years. Kind of saw when it was slow in 2019, 2020. Picked up. 2021 was just crazy, and now just getting used to the market in 2022. So yeah.
My name is Israel Flores. I am the husband part of the Flores home team. Tara's my wife.
Or known as the lesser part.
The lesser part, yeah. And so I've been a buyer's agent for here at the office. Is the only office I've ever been at. Going on 11 years now. So I handle the buying side. So Audra probably remembers when I was a buyer's agent for Kathy's team and the lead buyer's agent on that team. And then even on our team, I handle the buying. It's just what I prefer. Tara handles the listing side. So I've been doing this for a long time on the buying side.
Awesome. All right. Well, let's dive straight in, right? So first and foremost, what's your take, both of y'all, on the market currently, like in your view?
I mean, everyone knows, obviously, it's a very competitive market. It makes my life as a buyer's agent very tough right now, obviously. We are still seeing, compared even to last year, what we thought it was very competitive, it's brutal out there right now, to be honest. And so we're still seeing, obviously, multiple offer situations, over asking, appraisal waivers, inspection waivers, all that kind of stuff. So it's still very, very competitive. I think things have started to, inventory's creeped up a little bit. It's just not at the point yet to where, instead of maybe seeing 20 offers, you might see 8 or 10. So there's that, but it's still pretty competitive out there.
And you feel like inventory is increasing slightly?
So we track inventory on a weekly basis. So that's something I learned from Family Reunion. I forgot which age. I think it was Seychelles. That if you track inventory on a weekly basis, you can see in real time a slight shift. So we were at 0.8, 0.7, 0.8, which is ridiculous, right? And then as of Monday, this Monday, we're at 0.9. So slowly increasing.
All right. Yeah.
It's just for Fort Bend.
Just for
Fort Bend. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Same thing. So, I mean, last year, everything was 10, 12, 15 offers. So like now it's like 4 or 5, but they're just the craziest stuff we've seen when it comes to those offers. So like, just fully honest, last year, the whole year, I only lost 3 offers and I know the reasons I lost them. So year to date right now, I've lost 21 offers. So it's just, I mean, and that's me speaking out loud. And I always go back and call the agent and see why I've lost those offers. And it's cash, it's waive appraisal, it's waive appraisals, it's waive inspections, waive buyer approvals. It's just all kinds of things. So I feel like the people that didn't get a house last year or within the last couple of months are all in now. They've reached out to companies that are allowing them to buy houses in cash, and then they'll figure out how to refinance later into a real loan. It's just people are just getting super creative just to make sure that they get a house in this market. So,
I love the part that you kind of slid in there, but you always call after to find out why you lost it.
Yes, sir.
To help you grow.
Yep.
Pretty powerful there for those of you that maybe don't address that.
Yep.
Don't do that. That's awesome. All right. So you guys kind of alluded to it, but what are some of the differences you're seeing from, because last year was a heavy seller's market, it still is. Yet, what are some of the differences you're seeing on the offers that you put in last year and you possibly won to what it looks like now?
Last year, every offer was 5 to 10,000 above and waive appraisals. Still get to do inspections. This year, it's 40, 50,000, waive appraisal, waive inspections, and hope you get the house. So that's kind of been like the biggest shocker. And I would say like January and February, I was still kind of writing offers how I was used to last year. And there's just like this Monday, it was like 9 a.m. offer, lost an offer, 9:15 lost an offer, 9:30 lost an offer, 10 a.m. lost 4 offers over the weekend. And I was like, and I called
How was your weekend?
Yeah, right. I called that powerhouse back there and I was like, hey, this ain't working anymore. So we regrouped and I was like, what do we need to start doing different? And again, I'm always calling agents, and sometimes I've lost by a few thousand. And running comps has always been a big thing, but it's just the amount of cash that people have now to waive appraisals and even cover differences on inspections has just been crazy. So
all right, so that was great. How has it been to run comps right now?
It's crazy because last week a house, 1,500 square foot house over 300,000, right? Let's just say, and now it's a 1,700 square foot house that's listed for 340. So it just keeps pushing more and more. And then some people are like, oh, we don't want to go all in on this house. We'll go all in on the next house. But I tell them, well, that house just sold for way more. So this house is going to be listed for way more. No matter what the house is, I always run comps. I've never written an offer blindly without running comps.
Yeah, it's getting a little more difficult. To
yes,
run
sir.
Those comps.
Yes, sir.
I mean, comps are general. I mean, now we go back. You used to go back 3 months, now 3 months ago, it's a different
Yep.
market than what it is today. So, you really have to run as accurate as you can, most recent comps as you can. And just to echo something that BJ said, just always, if you lose a deal, so I have a first time buyer right now that's, that 200K mark is just so tough right now. Always follow up with the agent to find out why you lost that deal. And you'd be surprised. It's not always the highest offer. I've had a couple that we were actually the winning offer or highest offer, but the other buyer was waiving the option period or inspections. We'll talk about that in a second. As far as comps, usually what I do with my clients, I want them to feel like they're making the decision on. I'm going to guide them, but I want them to make a decision on what they're offering, right? Because it's tough because you balance. Hey, I want to win the house, but I don't want to have to sell my house in 5 years and be like, oh my God, I paid way too much. So I think in the long term they'll be fine. So we had that conversation up front, of what to expect going into the market whenever we do a buyer's consult. Hey, I'm just gonna be blunt with you, and this is what what we're gonna run into. And so I think a confident buyer will make a better offer. And so whether that's setting proper expectations, but also when I do when I run comps, I'm like, look, this is the minimum you have to offer to be competitive. This is your middle ground, and this is the highest I think you should probably go. Now it's up to you if you want to. And I've had buyers, hey, we'll go above that because we absolutely want this house. So let's say the highest was 25 grand over, and they're like, we'll go 20, 28, 30. Hey, that's completely up to you. But I'm giving you, in my professional opinion, what that range is, right? So I do that. And then, as far as, well, I don't know if you want to get into appraisals and inspection waivers
Yeah,
and
so
all
that's
that.
what we're doing. So great, thanks for the segment, right? So it seems like, and you guys have both mentioned this already, but now we'll dive a little deeper. It seems like the ones that are really winning or getting chosen now are waiving the option periods / inspections. Okay, so how can we legitimately advise our buyers? It's like kind of a gray area. I mean, it's tough to advise a buyer to, hey, give inspections or that's what's good. That's what it might take or what it's probably going to take.
Have you had any buyers do that?
So my whole time, the only time I've gone directly into pending was once, and my client was a builder. So I was completely fine with it. It's been hard. We've just written 2 offers going straight into pending, but man, we walked through that house with a fine tooth, looked at everything, foundation, HVAC, water heaters, roof, everything humanly possible. And that comes from me going to every single inspection. I go to every home inspection, foundation inspection, roof inspection. I have every conversation humanly possible. I let my clients know I am not an inspector, but here's what I think is happening. We recently had a house, it was listed, it was in Greatwood, and then we had to go above to get it. My clients wanted to go higher to get that house. And I go, I really think this house has foundation issues. Everything lines up where the cracks are, where the doors aren't closing, and the hairline cracks on the outside. Looked at the HVAC units, they're all 15, 20 years old. So I say, look, HVAC units can cost you $5,000 to $8,000. This foundation can cost you $10,000, and then you're gonna have to fix the cracks and the flooring after all of that's done. So I had that conversation beforehand, and we were still allowed an option period. During option period, there's foundation issues. Roof was a little bit older. There was HVAC problems. There's problems with the pool, and they were completely fine. We just negotiated and we came back down. But you've really got to know your stuff when you're walking through these houses. And let's just say you're a new agent and you haven't been to inspections. Go to these vacant houses and walk them yourselves and see if you can find issues. You've got to know about your HVAC between what's a 410A and what's a R22. You've got to know, okay, with roofs, if they're 15 years old, 17 years old, 20 years old, you've got to know that they're going to have problems with insurance trying to get those houses insured. Average age of roofs in Houston lasts about 20 years. Water heaters last about 10 to 15 years. You've got to know that seller's disclosure in and out. Another thing I also do is I look at that seller's disclosure first. And if I see that the roof is 20 years old or 22 years old, I let my clients know, look, you're going to have to replace this roof as soon as you move in. So it's probably going to cost you anywhere from 14 to 20,000. But when I make the offer, I let the listing agent know we're not going to ask for any roof related items, because I've already warned my buyer that they're going to have to replace it. And it's also been like, we won because there were other higher offers, but we already told them that we're not going to ask for a roof back, which another buyer might be $5,000 higher, and then they're going to ask for $10,000 back for the roof. But I did my due diligence, and it allowed us to win. But you just really got to know every single house you walk into, in and out.
And keep in mind, obviously, guys, we're not inspectors, right? So when we're walking through houses, I do something similar like to PJ. You know, I've been doing this long enough to where I can spot red flags, but I tell my clients, look, I am not an inspector. I haven't had a client. I have one right now, and she's like, again, first time buyer. We're like on our 15th offer, and she's making good, solid offers. But she's like, I won't waive my option period. I was like, I don't blame you. So I find it hard to tell a client to do that. Now, if that's something they insist on, then that's up to them, right? And I'll probably get that in writing that they said. It's just a ton of liability, in my opinion, for an agent to tell a buyer, hey, I think you should waive this. And then if something pops up later, who are they going to come back to? The agent, right? You're the first person that they're gonna say, well, you told me in order to get this house, I should waive it. Now I have termites, whatever it is. So I just see it as a big liability. One thing that I think you could do in lieu of that. So I made a couple offers that we almost got. You know, instead of waiving option period, you know, I can walk through the house. Again, I told my clients, look, I'm not an inspector, but between the seller's disclosure, walking through the house, I even advise them sometimes, say, hey, if you have a contractor, bring a contractor with you. There are some inspectors that will, for a fee, do kind of a pre-inspection. Now they can't, you know, do invasive inspection, but they can eyeball it better than you could as an agent, right? And that takes some of the liability off of you as well. So an inspector, you know, I think there's some that were doing it for like $200 or so. So they're not testing the AC, but they're looking at it. They're looking at the foundation. So you have a professional opinion, and you can do that. You know, you'd have to do it quick, obviously, but you can do that when you set up a showing to have either, at minimum, a contractor, or even better, an inspector to go along with you. And that'll give the buyer at least some more confidence that having an inspector that's at least giving me some more insight into the condition of the property. While we have not waived any inspections completely or option period, we have done like a 3-day option period or 2-day option period. And I'll have my inspector on standby. So I'm like, hey, we get this house, I'll schedule them tomorrow. We'll go out there, and barring anything crazy, we can just move forward, and we will write up the contract as is. So the listing agent knows, hey, we're not going to ask for any repairs. We've eyeballed this. We have a good idea of condition. We're just doing a quick 48-hour option period, just do inspections, just make sure it's nothing crazy, and then we'll move forward, you know. So that's one strategy, I think, instead of just saying completely waive everything, and again, potentially putting your buyers at risk there. So
and the liability is a concern, right? Like that is a big deal. When you do waive the inspection, that has liability implications, even specifically from a broker standpoint, right? So like, how would we do it? Oh, that works. All right. He's gonna close it all. He's gonna throw the hammer down at the end. Okay, so perfect. All right. So wait for that on when it comes to protection. It's from a liability standpoint. So, all right. So let's shift focus to the appraisal a little bit. It's something we've talked about for a good year or two now. Yet we're still seeing a lot of that. When it comes, when it comes to partially waiving, are we seeing where maybe even partial waivers are working still, or it's like full waivers?
I've gotten some partial waivers, so I think if, you know, I put it back on the agent, on the listing agent as much as possible sometimes, where I have comps that support it, you know, and your buyer also has to have the funds for that, right?
Yes.
And so, you know, not every buyer can do that. And so we've been doing partial waivers. On some that we just, I mean, I've even seen some properties that have been underpriced for whatever reason. There's one in, I think it's Full Valley, could have easily been listed at 300 and it was like at 285, you know? And so we had no problem going 25 grand over or whatever it was. So yeah, I'm still seeing some partial waivers, obviously a full waiver. What I have been seeing it more is listing agents requesting a full waiver on it. And so obviously that's,
well, do you think the pricing that they did, that you know, strategically below market value, do you think that's just to
probably, yeah, I guess, you know, to I mean, I think even at 300 it would have bid up, but so just to give you an example, listed at 285, we were at 305, so 20 grand over, and we didn't get the house. Now I told my buyer, look, this house could have been listed at 300, so we're 20 grand over, but not realistically, it could have been higher than that, right? So.
PJ, your take on the appraisal situation?
So this entire year so far, I've had 4 appraisal issues total. Those 3 that I had an issue with, the lender was out of Houston. And the reason that's actually a really big deal is because when you pick a lender that's in Houston, they have a group of appraisers that they love working with, and they usually don't have issues with them. So that makes a really big deal. The 3 that we had issues with, they're from Dallas, Austin, and I think Austin again. I also had one he was a Houston-based lender, and the appraisal came in $115,000 lower than the value. Jeez. We fought it, and one came back at value. But he's a really great lender. He asked me for comps and how I came up with this and why I came up with that price. Sent him everything I had, and came back at value. So it wasn't an issue. But the 3 that I fought and basically lost was because those lenders were out of Houston. And I will say that when you pick a good lender, let's just say you write an offer, CC your lender. And if that listing agent responds to that lender and he's not responding, you're probably going to lose. So make sure you're choosing a good lender that's going to respond, whether it's Saturday, Sunday, 5 p.m., 6 p.m., because they're going to call and say, hey, does your buyer have the funds to waive appraisal? And if your lender's not answering, they're going to the next offer. I mean, we see it on our listings all the time. We can't get a hold of the lenders that have put an offer in. So that makes a really big deal. And I will say, like, we run comps a lot. And I think the last 6 buyers that we've closed are all walking into equity, even in this market. Mm-hmm. So yeah.
I got 2 powerful things on one. You're well prepared in advance for just in case there is an appraisal issue. You have your report ready, essentially.
Yes, sir.
And yeah, make sure you're always keeping your lender in the loop.
Yep.
The local lender thing.
Yep. I think even on the listing side, I was listing agents being prepared for an appraisal, because I mean, if you're getting 20 grand, 30 grand on your listing, we talked about this in the AOC yesterday, having stuff ready to support that price, if that's the case, because as a listing agent, you don't want it to bust out either, right? The buyer's agent could be doing everything they can, but then we still have the third party appraiser that's going to go out there and give us their opinion. So we haven't seen a whole ton of issues on appraisals. I think we've only had a couple of buyers that had to cover a gap, and even then it was like 4,000 or 5,000 or so. It wasn't much.
Well, speaking of listings, I've heard in the past where during this market, I think it was Kathy or maybe Liz have said that you sometimes get an unseasoned listing agent that jumps straight to like that cash is the best, right? And cash offers are like that's what they're looking for. Yet, and we're seeing a lot of that right now. Yet, how can we maybe get an unseasoned agent to understand that possibly like the finance situation is actually a better offer to take?
Well, I think regardless of it's a seasoned agent, you're talking about listing agents, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's a 1-2 year listing agent or it's Audra. And I know I realize listing agents right now are getting bombarded. Tara's like, we listed a house that was 200, I think on Monday, and her phone is like, duh. And it's hard. So on the buying side, guys, you have to be diligent and persistent with that listing agent. Be nice, be professional, have clean offers, don't have anything missing, have your pre-approval updated, all the stuff that PJ just said. You have to have all that stuff prepared on the buying sides, because that listing agent has 20 offers. Whenever it comes to all things being the same, okay, I have one that's 20, these are the top 4 or 5. Listing agents are going to start mitigating risk. Besides the sales price, they're going to say, okay, which one has a stronger financing? Okay, they're all 20 grand over. Which one has stronger financing? Which one has a shorter option period? What can I find that's going to mitigate the risk of the deal falling through, right? And so I've won deals, and maybe not so much in this market, but I've won deals before where I had a relationship with that listing agent. Now, as new buyers agents, that takes some time, but if you guys work with me, like on the buying side, I'm on top of it. My buyer's not going to bust out. Granted, something crazy happens. I'm going to pick up the phone. I'm going to respond text. So calling that listing agent and just selling them on your buyer as much as possible is key. Having the lender call a listing agent and selling them on the buyer, and not just emailing an offer over and saying, good luck. You can't be doing that in this market, guys. You have to reach out to a listing agent. If they don't pick up their phone, because I know some of them don't, because they're getting bombarded, shoot them a text, shoot them an email. I go over and above about being, hey, I realize you're getting bombarded right now with calls and stuff, but just confirm that you got my offer. These are some things that the buyer is doing, et cetera, et cetera. So, but for an agent that's maybe not as new, just explaining to them that, there are things that, for example, I get my buyers whenever possible underwritten ahead of time. That's another strategy. So, they're essentially have loan approval, not just pre-approved. So that's as good as cash. Cash deals fall through too. Just because they're cash doesn't mean it's
So I
a
think it was
slam dunk.
explained to me kind of like they just feel like a financed buyer has kind of like more skin in the game,
Right.
way more serious, right?
Right.
It's kind of an interesting strategy.
What do you see?
Same thing, basically. If you can't get a hold of the listing agent, you've got to write that email like you're talking directly to the seller, right? So if you're paying for title policy, you get out that calculator and let them know exactly how much that title policy is and how much the seller is going to save with your offer. You've also going to let them know that you've looked all over the seller's disclosure. Hey, I see that the roof is old, so I'm not going to ask for anything about it. Again, CC your lender, again, just to make sure that's always there. And then at the end of your offer, you put in how much the seller is going to make by taking your offer. And I was talking to Mesh just yesterday. There was a small weekend in this crazy market where it seemed like there's no buyers out there, and we were still showing. And that weekend we got 4 executed, and 3 of them were at list price, and one was like 5,000 above. And the one we executed in Greatwood, where we sell the most, is there was another offer that was 15,000 higher, and we stayed at our list price. And he looked up our team, and he's like, "Well, looks like you guys always take it to closing. You guys work here a lot, so we'll take your offer." And we had an option period. We didn't pay title, but it was because the email was so detailed. It looked like he just hit the forward button to the seller and goes, "Hey, I'm going to take that offer." So yeah, I agree. You got to call the listing agent and have conversations with them. But if they're getting 20 phone calls, they're not going to remember when your email pops up again. So even after you have that conversation on your email, say, "Hey, thanks for taking my phone call as well. And here's everything that's in my offer." So they don't have to go through it. Imagine if you have 20 offers, but your offer is fully detailed about how many days for option, if you're paying title, if you're paying HOA,
home
warranty, cat fees, all of that. And you tell them, "Hey, your seller's going to make this much extra, and they're also going to save by not paying for title policy and any HOA." So as long as it's all spelled out, you increase your chances by maybe 50, 75%.
I think that's super helpful in your example, dealing with maybe with a newer listing agent. Breaking that down, we do the same thing. We summarize everything, so we don't just send a PDF and again, good luck. We break everything down. Hey, here are all the terms. Here's the financing. How many days? And that's selling the offer to the listing agent. So especially probably with the newer agent, they're probably getting overwhelmed. I have one right now I can't get a hold of. Text, call, email, not picking up. And I look up at the agents too. So I look at the listing. I mean, if it's somebody I know, then I know, but I look at the listing, how much business are they doing? Like this particular one, this is the only listing, hasn't done a whole lot of business. I'm like, I know what I'm working with, right? But on the flip side of that, I know that can probably influence him a little bit if I can get a hold of him. But just making it super easy, there's no question about it. He knows what, all the selling points of the offer. So as dealing with a newer agent, potentially, they can take that offer and say, man, they're here, and it might be to their detriment in some cases, but they might be like, "Man, this buyer's agent is making this so easy for me, Mr. Seller. I think you should go with this one," And so, and we've had deals won with that, even with experienced agents before, because, it's not always. Yes, sales price is probably the biggest thing, but it's not always sales price. There are some sellers that they don't want. They're in between moves. They want to mitigate risk, and so they're looking for. Yes, the best sales price, but also I don't want this deal to bust out, and we're in between stuff, So make it as clear, concise, and detailed as possible.
But you guys are vocal about making sure you sell your buyer, you guys, sell the lender, sell the offer. But what I'm hearing from you guys, even though you didn't say it in words, is sell yourself.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
That's
for
exactly
sure.
what you're doing is that, hey, I do this at a top level, and I'm here to partner with you to get this deal done. And that's exactly the examples you guys are showing.
Another quick thing I'll mention, just on topic of agents, dealing with agents, is follow up, because you lose an offer. Be courteous to that listing agent. They're getting bombarded too. I know it seems like, oh, listing agents, they're just selling everything, but it's a lot of work as well. Be courteous and follow up with that listing agent, because I've had a couple of deals that before that house comes back on the market, that agent calls me and say, "Hey, are your buyers still interested?" I'm like, "Hell yeah, we are. We'll get that house in the contract." Because I've been persistent about, almost on a weekly basis. All right, I know their option period is almost out. Let me check in. Okay, and their financing should be, pretty much coming up. Let me check in. So just don't give up on that house. Because I've seen I even seen in some situations, even though I keep in touch with our listing agent, they still put the house back in the market. I'm like, dude, you have an offer right here. Like our offer is still valid, right? So just be persistent on that end too.
All right. So any advice on any kind of like outside of the box strategies that you guys like have had, or examples that you've had that might have worked to maybe not necessarily in this market to get your offer accepted, but at least draw attention to your offer?
One thing I've been seeing a lot is buyers doing whatever they will to get that house first, and then they'll ask for a ton of money back. We probably saw it on 3 of our listings, 4 of our listings, and it just happened with one of our buyers. They wanted to go higher, but I was like, look, we're pushing comps at this point, and this house needs a little bit of work. And I even let the other listing agent know, look, like I've been seeing this a lot where they go way above ask, and then they're asking for a ton of money back. And that's exactly what happened. And that listing agent called us about 3 days later. It's like, hey, this is about to bust out. Are your buyers ready? And I was like, yeah, we definitely are. So, and we see it on our own listings a lot. So always just keep mentioning, you've got to stay ready, and you've got to see, especially if you were second, if they say, hey, you barely lost, you stay right there with them, because chances are it might bust out. And I mean, there's a point where you go, wow, that offer made no sense, right? If you're losing by $30,000, $40,000, there's a reason, and they're usually thinking, I'm going to go way above and then ask for $40,000 back for no reason. We just had one where they asked us for $20,000 and didn't send us the inspection report. It's like, there's issues with the house. Give us $20,000. And of course, it's like, that makes no sense. But the listing agent's going to go, we've already talked to this person, and they weren't too far off. They've already told us they're not going to ask us for certain things. So they just called us directly. And I was like, look, send us the inspection report. Of course they didn't. And I was like, well, give us at least a 3-day option so we can do our due diligence. But I've already told you we're not going to do what they just did to you. And we've gotten houses like that. So
I feel like if you're well prepared, like you guys have explained, that it's easy, you have your ducks in a row. It's easy to jump into that scene. So.
And there are new platforms coming out. I'll be honest, I haven't had any experience. I have one client right now that's going to test this out. Ribbon. If I heard of Ribbon, they essentially, will makes your buyer a cash buyer. And then regardless if they switch over to financing or not, that platform, now there is a fee to that. But I guess the trade-off for a buyer is like, okay, if you're having to waive inspections and waive appraisal and potentially cover an appraisal gap, would you rather do that, or would you rather pay a fee to one of these platforms? I think that's 1%, and make you a cash buyer. And so one of the lenders I've spoken to, they're beta testing it, and these aren't my clients, they're buyers that they have. The first 3 buyers that they're testing it with all got their offers accepted. And so there are platforms coming out there, if you want to look into that as far as just alternative ways to get your bid to win one.
So one of those is Homeward as well. And,
yeah.
We'll get you some more info on
yeah.
that too. We'll be bringing that to you. All right. So walk me through the process a little bit to kind of recap, like what your guys' process that you may take to present and possibly, put yourself in a position to have an accepted offer in the today's market. As opposed to just, being simple and back in the, more of a, regular market. Just email.
Make an offer or submit it. Yeah.
Yeah. So first thing is, like, I look every single morning for every single one of my buyers. That's how I kind of start my days, looking to make sure nothing's incoming soon. If something's incoming soon, I'll let that agent know immediately, hey, I've got a buyer, and we lost the last one, but we're ready to go on this one. So every single morning, that's how I kind of start. So I start already letting my buyer know, hey, I have this, here's the seller's disclosure. So I start prepping my buyer for potentially making an offer as soon as it goes to the market. And luckily, sometimes the agent will let us go before it hits the market anyway. So that's kind of where I start as I'm walking towards the house and showing. Oh, I don't know what I'm doing, and I'm just here. Next thing is, as I'm going through the house, again, I'm looking at all the major things, what's going to cost them the most money. And I let them know beforehand. Just showed a house in, I think it was Del Webb, smelled like sewer lines, saw foundation issues, and I let them know beforehand. They said, hey, it's too big of a risk, but I'm mitigating that before we go into option period and then having to deal with potentially a headache. So if I warn them beforehand, then we're good to go. I'll also send them, most of the time I send them comps beforehand just so I can know what they're going up against. And I'll tell them what's my comfortable number, and they'll usually give me what's their comfortable number. Sometimes they say, hey, I really want this house and I want to make sure it happens. So I know on the appraisal end, I have to get ready for a potential battle. And then the listing agent already knows that I've already reached out to them that I'm going to show them the house. Luckily, right now, you're probably showing a buyer 1 or 2 houses, if that. So it's not that much work. Now, if you're showing them 5 to 10 houses, one, you're probably showing them too many houses. And it's not that much work if you're just showing them 1 or 2 and they're going under contract. And then preparing them for the offer, I let them know their potential money invested into the house. And I again tell them, hey, I'm a realtor, not a lender. So make sure you get your final numbers from the lender. Always protect yourselves on all ends. And then of course that email is fully typed out. Lets the seller know how much they're going to make, how much they're going to save. And again, the point is, yeah, you're a buyer's agent, but you want to present it like you're going to do the listing agent's job too. So they're hands off. Make it as easy as possible and say, I'm the easiest person to work with. I'll have the inspector there tomorrow. I've reached out to title. I've reached out to the lender. I'll make sure this gets clear to close, and you'll get updates from me every Monday. Where the loan is, where title is, where we are with inspections. You want to make it seem like they're getting their 3% by only listing the house and nothing else. And you want to make it as easy as possible for them because they go, this is the guy I want to work with because he's doing both the jobs. So,
yep. Ditto. No, I mean, a lot of stuff we talked about before, as far as running comps, giving them a range, as far as sending in an offer, just being super detailed and just not just sending a PDF over and just hoping for the best. Really breaking down the selling the offer, selling the buyer, selling yourself in a nutshell, right? Sell the offer by breaking down all the details. I love that, PJ puts in there how much the seller would potentially make, so I'll start using that. But selling the offer, selling the buyer, pre-qualify, are they already underwritten? Are they paying cash? How motivated they are. Just anything you can do to sell the buyer, and then lastly, just sell yourself. You'll be super easy to work with. You'll be able to reach me. They're working with my preferred lender. All those different things you can do to sell the overall package, I guess. And again, we do the same thing. Just to make it so listing agent can be like, man, this is gonna be the smoothest deal. Not even tell the listing agent like, hey, if you go with our offer, besides all this stuff, I promise you this will be one of the smoothest deals you have. And so all those things to kind of elevate you. I know Maryland doesn't like for buyers to be writing letters. I still have some buyers that write letters. There's some, what do you call it? The love letters, yeah. And so you'd be surprised. I know we're technically not supposed to do that anymore, but I have some buyers that still insist on that. So.
Cool. All right. Any final piece of advice from either of you before we take big lunch?
Just stay persistent.
Okay. Good. All right. We just have, I think, there's a statement from one of our lunch sponsors on the topic matter.
Hi, everybody. I'm Rebecca with Transact Title. I just wanted to add something on the title side to what these two gentlemen were saying, and they're exactly right. What we're seeing is two things that we came across. We had one offer that was over ask, and the gentleman was in Canada. The appraisal came in low. They did have upgrades that the appraiser was not privy to the house. And so the seller was giving them points and add-ons as to what was happening. What happened was the buyer ended up taking the offer because they really wanted the house. They hadn't even seen the house. They had to have the money seasoned. So be prepared for things like that. Because the lender had to do that. So it was another additional week. So prepare your sellers that when things like that happen, that the lender does have the control over the transaction, because the seller wasn't really that wasn't that helpful as far as wanting to let them continue with the process. The other thing was another situation that we just had was make sure that you're aware of what boxes you're checking on the contract and what you're saying, because we had another $1.7 million deal that was over ask as well. That the contract, the appraisal came in almost $300,000 under, right? They were out of option. They wanted the earnest money back. The seller was kind enough to do that, but they really didn't have to. So just make sure that you know what you're checking on the boxes, because they checked that it didn't matter what the appraisal said or anything, that they were going to accept the offer, and they didn't. So out of the kindness of the heart of the seller, and not to create, because it was her personal home, and not to create, as she said, bad vibes in the, with the home. She wanted to get it sold. Just know what you're asking for.
All right, great. Let's give it up first for these guys on the panel. You guys are awesome. All right, here's the takeaways I would give you is, if you're going to do this industry and compete with them, you better show up and work hard and know what the heck you're doing. As a brokerage, we do not tell buyers to waive inspections and option period. Okay? If they choose to do it, they're going to put it in writing that they were advised to go through the process and they truly understand the implications, and you have that documented in writing. No, we visited with over the phone. That will show later up in our lives, and we'll have a good time with that together, right? So that's the piece. Understand your timelines. Still this day, we need to understand when option period starts. If you're going to go to 2 days, hold on, you better understand the importance and deliver that message really quick. Great strategies, but they're going to increase your list, but they're prepared. And if you're going to be on the other end, and if you don't show up with things done right, a listing agent, when they have somebody else who shows up as a professional, who are they going to choose? That's a fact. And we're here to support you along the way. Just wanted to make sure those were very clear. Oh yeah, I heard in the team meeting, they said to waive inspections and option period. Dear Lord, no. Okay, thank you. That's it.
Thank you guys, appreciate it. I think the bottom line, the last thing actually, the greatest strategy would be to just go get the listing and then you don't have to worry about it, right? Anyway, I hope you guys, that was a lot of value there, and these two gentlemen are amazing and they're some of the best in the business at it. I hope you guys got a lot of strategies. Go get them out there. All right, let's move on to our awesome sponsors. Oh, there they are. Oh. Who's up here? Oh, AMCAP. All right, come on, AMCAP.
Morning, everyone.
All right, Dale.
Hey, thank you. So one thing that everyone's well aware of right now is just what rates are doing in the market. And so we compiled some by decades what rates have done, as you can see, in the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, 2010s. This is our current rate, approximately at almost 6% where we are today. So what do you take away from this graph? Pretty good. Chad has preached this all the time. He remembers 16 and 17% interest rates on his home purchases years and years ago. So
I'm not quite that old.
I was giving some credit.
I was 9, not 16. Thank
I
you.
was giving you some credit.
My parents, yes.
Got it. My point being, the rates are still incredibly phenomenal when you look at historically where rates have been. That should not be a reason that a buyer is backing out. The big thing that we discussed in the past was, can your buyer that you started with in December that couldn't find a house, when rates were still in the 3s, can they still qualify for a rate at 6%? That's where you need to have that conversation and follow up with their lender to see if they can still qualify. In that 4 or 5 months since December, that house price may have also increased 5 to 10%. So make certain that your buyer is looking in the price range of home that they can currently qualify for. Guys, great information that you put out there. One thing that I've had questions for agents that have not done a lot of business. What is this appraisal waiver thing that I'm considering having my buyer sign? Does everyone understand how an appraisal waiver works? If you don't, it's real simple. If you write on the appraisal waiver form that your buyer is willing to pay contract price, no matter what the house appraises for, doesn't mean if it doesn't appraise that they get their money back. They're hard, obligated, contracted to pay asking price for that house. There is an option on there for a partial waiver up to a certain dollar amount, potentially over the appraised value, if it doesn't appraise. So look at this document. What I get from these two guys that all of you need to take note of, they do their homework. They know when they're going into a transaction that what to exactly expect. And then they make the other parties involved in the transaction feel warm and fuzzy. They feel great about doing business with them. Take that on, guys, be prepared. Happy hour tomorrow after. No, it's okay. We've already got it. Barbara is saying no, only for those that participate in Red Day. From 3 until 5 o'clock, we're going to do 2 drink tickets and some appetizers. It's going to be at Floyd's, which is just across 59. That's okay. Who said that? Who said that? Everybody knows about it. We already talked about it. I'm paying the bill. What does it matter? Okay. It's all right. You got to be participating. We already covered that. Either way, yes, ma'am. Yes.
Hello.
Hang
Hello,
on.
Ursula.
Hold on online. Hang on. Go ahead, Audra.
Well, so by law, Texas law, when we provide a letter for a pre-qualification or pre-approval letter, that is one of the items that's required to be there.
Do you know what someone told me yesterday?
No.
Well, they didn't tell me, but they told my assistant.
Yes.
I'm loud enough. Oh, my bad. Okay. For the people, so she told the lender told my assistant, well, it's actually against the law for me to put the interest rate on it. And I called them. I was like, yo, listen, so let's not lie. Okay. So I need some information. And, we ended up having the conversation, but we have to put numbers on those third-party financing addendums because that's another way to get out of the contract.
Correct. What the violation of the law is, state law says that there's minimum required documentation or information for you as an agent to be able to verify or justify which is the better offer. And so that letter needs to provide loan amounts, loan type, interest rate approximately. Doesn't mean that that rate is locked in.
Well, true, but what are you putting something on your letters that say this is good for, a 30-day period, 10-day period, with the rates changing so fast?
On the letter, it says, is the rate locked or not locked?
Okay.
So what I would advise, and again, on a third-party financing addendum, if the buyer has a potential option to back out because their rate is higher than what's on the third-party financing addendum, I would discuss, can they qualify potentially for a little bit higher of an interest rate? We don't control what happens in the market, but we don't want that to be a reason for a buyer to be able to back out because they didn't get the rate that they thought that they were going to get and have to match what's on the third-party financing.
Oh, I know they're not locked. I know they're not locked, but I don't want them to use that as an excuse to get out of my contract. So if they're giving me 6%, I'm making them put 7 or 8.
And I think that that's smart. And
Yeah.
all of you should understand that we don't control what happens in the market. The buyer may say, well, I want to wait and see what happens. Well, in this market, we've just seen that rates have continued to go up. And chances are that if they waited 2 weeks, then that rate is not going to be available. So do what you're doing, potentially bump that.
Yeah, smart.
Okay.
Good deal. Thank you,
you.
Dale.
You got
Appreciate
it.
it.
Thank you, guys.
Awesome. All right. Let's wrap it up with our lunch sponsor. Thank you, Dale. All right. Oop, I lost this. I lost it. All right, let's get up here. Yep. Can you help me here? Let's get Lawrence's picture up here. Come on, buddy. All right. Now it's on now. You're up here. You'll pick up this mic. Don't worry. Go for it, Lawrence.
Hey guys, my name is Lawrence, Perry Homes, Veranda. I'm off today. I'm sorry, I just didn't dress up for y'all, but I'm in vacation mode still. Just came back from vacation. Lots of inventory home coming soon. September, yes. September onwards. Not now, but September. Large homes, large big lots. Veranda, Johnson Development Community, about 7 minutes from here. Today I have Rebecca. Talk.
Hi, Rebecca. Hi, as I said earlier, I'm from Transact Title. We're a full service title company. What that means is we have an on-site real estate attorney that can prepare deeds, entity docs. We also have 1031 for your guys with your investors. We are a direct operation, and what that means is we have our own title plant. We have our own examiners. but we also have multiple underwriters, and that's super important because that means you have choices. So Rebecca, Transact Title, and that was me at 50, and I wish it was me now.
I don't see a change at all. Are you kidding? Thank you, Rose. Coming up?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if I have my slide there, but hey everyone, I'm Chintan Patel, Kina Inspections. Just trying to introduce myself, and Sapna here gives me a hard time for the report I did yesterday. But anyways, home inspection company, been in business 5 years, and actually in this 5 years, this brokerage is one brokerage that I started with and have done the most work with. So would love to earn all of your referrals as well. In this current market, how do we stand out to help you guys? We book next date or within 2 days. We have fully automated website where your clients can go and just book that overnight or for the weekend. We work 7 days a week, and we provide reports same day. All right. At the buyer's orientation, whether it's by phone or email, phone or in person, we brief them about what to expect based on this market, right? Some buyers, like these guys we're talking about, they expect a ton of money after the inspection. We make it verbally, make them understand that that doesn't always work in these conditions. But at the same time, is the house good for them or not, right? Other than that, we do everything that a residential inspection or a residential purchase transaction may require. Track inspection, termite inspection, swimming pool, mold, stucco, whatever you name it, we do it. We do commercial inspections as well. I have my cards in the kitchen and some here, and happy to earn your business. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jim. Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
Yep. take
Good to
care.
see you.
All right. All right, guys. I hope you got a lot of value out there. Thanks for joining us. If you're in person here, enjoy lunch. The rest of y'all, enjoy your day. Make it productive. See y'all next week.